Hi, welcome to County Connection. I'm Julie Sutor from Summit County Government, and with me I have Aaron Byrne, the Solid Waste Director for Summit County, and Jenn Santry from High Country Conservation Center. And we're here today to talk about Summit County's recycling program, and in particular some changes related to recycling glass that is going to make recycling overall in the county have better environmental benefits and more financially sustainable. So Aaron, why don't we start out with you? Can you give us an overview of your operations at the Summit County Resource Allocation Park, or SCRAP, which I think is one of the coolest acronyms in government?
Yes, I would agree. Well, thank you for having me, Julie. SCRAP, Summit County Resource Allocation Park, consists of three major operations. The three operations consist of landfilling. We operate a Subtitle D pre-79 landfill. We have a MRF, a material recoveries facility, which we process all the recyclable materials, and we also have a Class 1 commercial composting operation.
Okay, fantastic. So for some background, we know Summit County has a strong recycling ethic that's been in place for a long time. So can you guys give us a little bit of history on recycling in Summit County?
Sure, yeah. Well, actually it all started with a man called Tim McClure, and Tim McClure, he started recycling with friends from the back of his car and taking it to the Front Range, which was pretty amazing for someone to do that in our community. And that was about 1976, and from there it developed into a nonprofit, and basically it used to be called the Summit Recycling Project, and we as a nonprofit ran the recycling operation at that point. And then we came around to the county and started talking to them back in 2004, and in 2005 we gave the operations over to the county, which was a really nice partnership relationship that we were able to form. And from there, so formed the High Country Conservation Center, and we changed our name and decided there was more than recycling. So we had the county who did the operations, and then we started looking at composting, and that's how, working together, we have a compost operation now. And from there, we have energy and sustainable food programs.
Great. Yeah. And then Aaron, so from the county side, can you talk about some of the policies and facilities that have helped move recycling along in the county recently?
So in 2005, the county commissioners adopted a zero waste resolution. We joined forces with SRP, Summit Recycling Project, and maintained operations for the county for all recycling programs.
Okay, fantastic. So what are the different options that people have for recycling in Summit County if they're wanting to get their all their recyclables in the right places? How do they do that?
Well, in Summit County, we have several options. We have free drop-off centers throughout the county. Two of them are located in Frisco and Breckenridge. We do source-separated products. Those drop-off sites are located in Breckenridge at County Road 450, and in Frisco near the County Commons. They're open 24/7.
Okay.
We accept all source-separated products at the drop-off centers. We collect glass, we collect Gramber glass, colored glass, and we collect clear glass separated, which was the most recent change that we had at the drop-off sites. We have a drop-off center. The town of Dillon has a drop-off center at the town hall.
Okay.
Monday through Friday, the hours are 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. We have a mobile recycling trailer for all commodities in the north parking lot at the in the Summit Cove Elementary School, 7 days a week. And we also have in the town of Silverthorne, we have Waste Management has a drop-off center in the town of Silverthorne Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Okay, great. So when you're talking about these drop-off centers being source separated, so basically there are different containers for each kind of product.
Correct. We have different commodities that we collect at the drop-off center. We have number 1 plastics, which is peat, your clear bottles. We have number 2 plastics, which are all your color jugs. We have all your containers, your metals, your tins and aluminums. And then we have your office paper, office news, and then we have cardboard also at the drop-off centers.
Okay, great. And so for folks who aren't going to the drop-off centers, how else do recyclables get to you guys?
So throughout the county, a lot of the haulers offer curbside recycling, where residents are able to put their recycling out at the curb. Single stream recycling is an option. A lot of the haulers offer that, which is one of the reasons why we're here to discuss the glass.
Yeah.
But the single stream is all put into one bin. In the past, it has been collected with all your fibers, all your containers, and glass all in the same bin. And with the recent change that we're offering and change in the county is to remove the glass from the single stream. So one of these recent changes that are taking place currently is the removal of glass from the single stream recycling for residential curbside collection.
Okay, so folks who have a hauler who come to their HOA or directly to their curb at their residence, where folks are putting in all their recyclables into one bin. So that's single stream.
Correct.
And then people also have the option of the source separated at the drop-off centers.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So then, can you tell us about what goes on at the material recovery facility once those materials get there?
Correct. So at our drop-off facility, we have a tipping floor, and our source separated products from all the drop-off centers hit our floor. And all those products are separated due to all the community's efforts to keep that material separated. All those materials are baled and processed and shipped mill direct. When we accept single stream minus glass at the drop-off centers, that material is processed, baled, and shipped to the front range to be further processed and separated so it can go mill direct.
Okay.
So currently we accept products that are source separated and single stream products minus glass at the material recovery facility. And
then, so what are some of the pros and cons of the two approaches?
Well, there's a lot of advantages and disadvantages.
To each one.
To each one, yes. In single stream, there's a lot of pros. One of the pros is most of that material is not going into landfills. The advantages to single stream is to have the material, that material basically creates a convenience for people to put it all in one bin. It increases participation. So looking at those advantages, that really helps increase that participation and get those commodities and get people involved. A lot of the disadvantages to single stream recycling is the glass in the single stream recycling. Okay. The glass breaks down after compaction, ends up contaminating a lot of your paper commodities, which devalues a lot of the recyclables in the single stream. So there's a lot of disadvantages when you're looking at end markets. And over the last couple of years, we've had several pulp plants closed down due to the process and having that contaminated glass in the recycling. So it definitely devalues a lot of the commodities in the single stream.
Okay. Any other kinds of contamination issues besides glass that you see in single stream?
We see quite a few contaminants. I think a lot of folks don't realize, we're penalized for having contamination in our single stream recycling. In any of our recycling, we have a 5% contamination residual rate, and if we exceed that, we have to pay to get rid of those materials. Okay.
Can you explain residual rate to folks out there?
So when we sell materials to mill direct, depending on the commodity, if there's a different material in that, whether it's trash, we get deducted on the highest value,
Okay.
the best price on that commodity. When we process our single stream recycling, we ship that to the Front Range so they can sort through the commodities and ship the material mill direct. We get a lot of commercial residual trash, organic material,
Okay.
construction material, and of course there's a lot of extensive labor to pull those things out. So that causes a higher, a lower rate for those commodities.
Okay. So for folks who obviously want their recycling to have the greatest environmental benefit as well as the greatest financial and economic efficiency for our county recycling operations, so aside from not putting glass into single stream, what are some other tips that you have that help maximize the environmental benefits of recycling?
Well, there's a lot of things a lot of questions that we get asked from the community. One of those questions are, what do I do with this recyclable? What do I do with this commodity? We have education programs out there. We have a website. We have our HC3 education outreach program that does a lot of our education. If you're not sure, we just ask that you would check those websites and verify what we do accept. It's, for our operation, sometimes we have things change in the industry, in the solid waste program, in the recycling programs, and we really try to send a consistent message. We don't like change either, but we really try to work with the community and the trends with the recycling industry. And just one of the things that I would really encourage is to look at the websites and verify what we're accepting currently.
Right. Okay, great. And so, Jen, where can people go to get the most up-to-date information on how to recycle and what to recycle?
Yeah, as part of that partnership with the county, the High Country Conservation Center's website, which is highcountryconservation.org, is the best place to go and find out what the current recycling guidelines are, and then like priority news such as glass changes. They can also call our office anytime with even quick questions. We have a recycling hotline, and that's 970-668-5703. And I think it's really important to reiterate what we were just talking about, is especially with recycling. Everybody wants to recycle, and we think it's awesome. We're very supportive of it. But we can't recycle everything, and unfortunately, and if there's not a market out there for that product, there's nothing but to throw it away. And people often think, I'm just going to throw everything in there because they'll figure out something to do with it. And it doesn't work that way. It actually costs not only the county, but it hurts the environment along the line, because it really hurts our recycling program and can impede it for the future generations if we keep having these costs. So it's really important to look at those guidelines, talk to us. We're happy to talk to people about what to do. And then, if in doubt, throw it out. And that's a simple rule to remember. We'd rather you keep it out of the system and keep the recycling clean.
Fantastic. All right, well, that wraps up this section, and we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk more specifically about the bottle-to-bottle program, an initiative to maximize the environmental and the economic benefits of recycling glass. Hi, welcome back to County Connection. I'm Julie Sutor, and I'm here with Aaron Byrne, Summit County Solid Waste Director, and Jenn Santry from High Country Conservation Center. We're here talking about Summit County's recycling program, a little overview, and then also more specifically some changes related to how to maximize the environmental and economic benefit of recycling glass. So there is a new initiative, Bottle to Bottle, and Jen, can you give us a little overview of that and describe how residents and visitors can participate?
Absolutely. So with Bottle to Bottle, it's exactly what it says. So I can just take you through really fast what we talked about with Aaron. When you think about curbside and it leaving your house, it goes to a truck, and from the truck it gets to the material waste recovery facility, and then it goes out and about. So if you think about bottle to bottle, basically with the source separating, you can take it to our drop-off centers, and what we're asking you to do, again, is take it out of the single stream, take it to the drop-off centers where we keep everything source separated, and you throw it directly into the bin that says glass. And there are two bins. There's a clear glass and there's also mixed glass. And from there it goes directly to Miller Coors, which is a bottling plant in Rocky Mountain bottling plant in Golden, and it's made into a bottle. So to me, it's like the perfect model of recycling right there. You're getting the complete circle or closed loop cycle of making a bottle from bottle. However, if you think about the single stream process that we were just talking about, unfortunately, when you mix all those products together and you put it in a bin and it leaves your house, even though the glass isn't broken when you put it into the bin, by the time that it gets to the bin, it gets crushed and it baled, it becomes glass shards. So that is a very difficult very difficult to recycle. So you compare those two processes and you understand why we're saying bottle to bottle versus the other process, which unfortunately can't be recycled.
Right. So in that single stream process, can you talk about some of the impacts to your equipment, Aaron?
Yeah.
So when glass is mixed in there with the plastics and the metals and the paper and everything?
We definitely have a lot of impacts on our equipment. One of the reasons why we really looked at this removal of glass in the single stream recycling. Once the single stream recycling hits our tipping floor, it's put on a conveyor belt and it goes through our baler. And our baler has a ram that presses against a liner against a wall and forms a bell and is ejected out onto our tipping floor and then loaded into a truck. And glass is very abrasive. So during that process, we're wearing on our equipment. It causes us to replace liners sooner.
Okay.
So there's wear on our tipping floor on the concrete. So there's a lot of different things happening to cause a lot of equipment costs due to our operation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So this, the launch of this Bottle to Bottle initiative, a lot of folks were involved in that. Jen, can you talk a little bit about the process and the group who launched this?
Absolutely. We formed a zero waste task force. The county and High Country Conservation Center really reached out to the community to see who our key partners were. And this was in 2012, so we've been meeting for well over a year. And we hosted several different meetings, some monthly, some every other month, and came together. We had representatives from local towns, we had representatives from the college, the ski resorts, the haulers, and then some just key citizens who came to this meeting. And it was really amazing to see the process as everybody came together to talk about issues with recycling just in general. And then as those came to the table, we realized one of the biggest ones really was the single stream and trying to address the contamination issues. We really, all of us together want clean recycling and we want to do it right. So we decided to focus on that.
Folks are recycling in the first place.
Right. You're recycling so it gets made into a new product.
Right.
And if something's impeding that process, especially with what we call dirty recycling, because unfortunately it's getting crushed into a lot of different contaminants, it's no longer really glass anymore. It's just crushed mess, and they can't do anything with that. So we realized that's a major problem. We need to discuss this. And so from that meeting of the Zero Waste Task Force, we decided that we needed to work on the education, telling the community what was really happening, and figuring out a way or solutions to work with haulers, local businesses, and the community to fix the problem. So that's what we're doing right now.
Okay, great. So it may feel a little strange or counterintuitive to not throw that glass into your recycling bin, but in fact, in most cases, it's not getting recycled.
It's correct. And
at the end of the day anyway.
Yeah, and it's important also to note that this isn't just our community's problem. This is a problem that's happening across the entire United States. And we might be the first people doing this along with a couple other communities that might model for other communities on how to do this in the future. And if you've noticed over the past, our recycling program has been pretty on it. When we hear there's an issue or there's a change in trends, we try to make it right, and we try to keep it local as much as possible and do what makes the most sense for the recycling program. So we're sort of on the forefront of this, and it's probably going to happen in a lot of communities, and unfortunately, but fortunately, because it's cleaner recycling.
Right. Okay. So for those folks who really do want to see their bottles get turned back into new bottles, go to the drop-off centers, separate it out, and as you mentioned, so colored glass goes into one bin,
Yes.
clear glass into another. Talk about the reason for those separations and what gets turned into what.
Well, I think Aaron's probably going to know the story behind that, because that was a decision made by the county last year. We're just supporting it, so let Aaron talk about that.
So we accept 2 different types of glass at the drop-off centers. In the past, we've accepted amber glass.
So that's like
and
the brown.
The brown glass, and then the mixed colors. With the new changes at Rocky Mountain Bottling Plant, there's more of a demand for the flint glass, the clear glass.
Okay.
So, which brings a higher value for that because of the clear stream. So currently we're accepting the Gramber, the colored glasses, in a separate container, and the flint glasses in the clear optical glass in a separate container.
Okay.
So-
And so Gramber, is that like a contraction of green
We
and
call
amber?
it, correct, exactly,
Okay.
yep. So we throw those colors together, and we get Gramber. So.
Okay, great. And so environmentally and economically, how would you characterize the benefits of keeping that in Colorado? What are some of the, not just the materials themselves, but some energy benefits, energy savings, resource conservation?
Well, let's start with glass. I mean, going back to the bottle-to-bottle effort, we're a really lucky community to even have a glass recycling or a bottling plant near us, because most communities don't have the ability to recycle glass at all. So in those cases, maybe single stream isn't so problematic. But here, since we have it on the Front Range and we can ship our bottles directly there and they're made into bottles so quickly, we're very lucky to have that recycling opportunity. Yeah.
Okay, great. Let's see, do either of you guys have anything to add about the bottle-to-bottle program or recycling in general?
Well, if I could, Julie,
Sure.
I'd just like to add, one of the real values to us, as Jen touched on, is the logistics. It really works well for our program, and true bottle-to-bottle recycling, knowing that your bottles are truly getting recycled, there's a huge benefit for us. Last year, 2013, we hauled 600 tons of glass to
Oh, wow.
Rocky Mountain Bottling Plant, clear and Gramber glass. And there's a lot of resources that are used for glass: soda ash, limestone, sand, and every ton of glass recycled is a ton of resources that are saved.
Right.
So we really look at that as it's a huge benefit for not just Summit County, but for Rocky Mountain Bottling Plant to know that they're getting a product, a clean stream product, and there's value to both parties. So, anyways, I just wanted to add that to.
Excellent, thanks. All right, well, this has been County Connection. Thanks so much for joining us. Please remember, keep that glass out of your single stream recycling, bring it to the drop-off centers, and thanks so much.